Hello everyone, my name is Bryant Bentley. I am an actor from Columbus, Ohio, born and raised in Dayton, Ohio. Go Flyers. Um, just like many of you today, I am quarantined right now for the time being. Was in the middle of a show and it was shut down. So can't wait to get back going, as well as my other thespians out there. Big shout out to Clayton Southers and the Pittsburgh Playwrights Theater Company. Mark and I have been friends for years, and one of the very first shows that Mark directed me in was Gem of the Ocean, and I played Caesar Wilkes in that, and from there the rest is history. We continue to build a relationship, and today I have an opportunity to do one of Mark's Chronicles. So we're going to get started. Today is Hank the Second, Chronicles number 25, Hank the Second. It all started out with a simple request. You see, they had a condom catheter on Hank, and for some reason his beard was being stretched to where it was starting to hurt. For those of you that don't know, and I certainly didn't know before this unfortunate episode, a condom catheter is what it sounds like. It's an external catheter that attaches from the outside, covering up a man's private parts. In this case, Hank. This rubber device stretched from the tip of his head to the base of his neck, and it was extremely tight. So I called to my wife, "Niecy, this is hurting." As I pointed down towards the Hank zone, she quickly came over to take a look. Knowing that assisting me in something like this, although highly personal, she knew to call in the experts and basically let the people that her insurance was paying for handle it. So she pushed the little red button near my bed, and soon came in a CNA, certified nurse's assistant. My wife and I overlapped explaining the situation to her. She was a 20-something African-American woman. She said, "I'll be right back," and she exited to go get help. Hank listed to his side trying to escape, like an embarrassed Houdini in a see-through straitjacket whose clock had ran out midway through his act. The CNA returned with another African-American woman, and with a pair of scissors. And shock entered my mind, but the potential relief of my stressful situation outweighed the threat of a misguided pair of scissors. Well, I quickly learned that I crapped out on my decision to keep my mouth shut. The over-anxious CNA had given Hank his very first scar. Although thin in nature, it still drew blood. A thin line of crimson liquid caused horror in the minds of this young lady and her co-worker, who I noticed had conveniently slid her hands into her pocket. Frustrated and slightly embarrassed, she quickly apologized and went for more help. Hank laid there helpless, suffocating and bleeding. My wife helped me sit up to get a closer look. I leaned in closer and attempted to gently pull pubic hairs that were held hostage under that same hellish condition that imprisoned Hank. I had managed to free a few when suddenly the CNA returned with a head nurse. No pun intended. He was a white male in his early to mid-40s. For some reason, he reminded me of Al Bundy. And it didn't take long for him to do an Al Bundy move. No sooner than that the two CNAs briefed him on what was going on, he took a quick look. He took a few quick looks at the situation and then grabbed hold of Hank and yanked the external condom catheter off with one sweeping motion, and in the process tearing Hank's lower neck wide open. Blood quickly rushed out as everyone panicked. My wife took pictures and I was just plain numb. A million ill thoughts ran through my mind as to why would he do such a thing in such a careless manner. Keep in mind, I was bedridden and could barely sit up, let alone throw a right hook. I had spent all my recent energy trying to free pubic hairs. I had laid there helpless with thick tears rimming my eyes. I softly muttered in a hurt tone, "Why would you do that?" He quietly stood there with a stupid look on his face. The CNAs went about the business of cleaning Hank off and disposing of the catheter. Hank gave me one last look before they covered him up It was the look of a defeated boxer being tended to by his corner man who realized that his paycheck wouldn't be all that much. Did that make sense? I just kind of went with it. I thought it did, but it may have been a tad too long. Nevertheless, Hank was in a losing predicament. Hurt and bloodied, he was better off left alone to heal. A few days later, I asked the head nurse if he had written up an incident report. He said, "No, but we took pictures. You can have copies." A week later, I asked him again about him writing a report. He said he did not. A week later, I asked him one last time before I transported to a rest home to heal. This time informing him that my attorney had requested a report, and this time he totally ignored me. I still could not sit up without assistance, and when I arrived at the rest home for a short stay, I chose to actually get some rest and give my leg a chance to heal. See, the leg was once again the main concern. I needed to heal so that they could remove the huge metal fixer and I could begin rehab work on it. And like the head nurse, I too had forgotten about Hank. Well, he wasn't in any pain and had seemed to return to the deep sleep that he had been in prior to the unfortunate mishap. The 2 weeks came and went. My many visitors were a welcome distraction from my bodily woes. As we inched closer to my departure, I couldn't help to think about this great facility that I was headed to and the prospects of my walking again soon. Finally, I was transported by ambulance to this rehab hospital up Route 28. Upon arrival, my immediate goal was to work on my upper body strength so that I could do more for myself, including washing and looking at my wounds close up. In this new environment, it didn't take long to whip my non-injured body parts into shape. Soon, I was able to not only sit up, but also able to put my right shoe and sock on. It was a great feeling to be slightly independent once again. One late evening, I was giving Hank a light sponge bath, and something told me to check his lower neck area for possible damage. I stretched and twisted him to the side, and to my horror, I saw the remnants of the head nurse's handiwork. Hank had a lengthy white scar more than halfway around his neck, and it was very thick. Nothing that a suntan wouldn't diminish. My attorney instructed me to summon the staff urologist, who showed up a few days later. He was an older Indian man who listened to Hank's story before examining him. He concluded with the fact that Hank's injury would not prevent him from performing. Now, as you would imagine, this was good news. Although scarred badly, he was good to return to action. Well, that was a sigh of relief. Hank had been on the sidelines for well over 2 months at that point. He may have even suffered a concussion from the accident. But I know for sure that traces of the heavy narcotics were still deeply embedded in him. So although he got the okay from this doctor, I decided to let him be and keep him on the bench or undercover for the time being. I'm not too happy about this new appearance, but luckily he doesn't have a career where it would be noticeable. Onward. Thank you.